Good afternoon, I'm Larry Keefe. Just a few weeks ago, President Trump, Secretary Noem, and the highest leadership in the federal part of this country came to Alligator Alcatraz, sat down at a round table, and declared to the world that the state of Florida is by far, by any measure, the best and most effective partner the federal government has in the United States of America in the mass deportation mission. At that same sit-down down at Alligator Alcatraz, the President and Secretary Noem complimented and recognized our governor, our Attorney General James Uthmire, and this man right here, Kevin Guthrie, for their vision and understanding what needed to be done to set the standard for what a state does to help the federal government achieve the mass deportation mission. In addition to the vision, they complimented them on the thoughtfulness, the thinking, the strategic mindset of once you have a vision that the feds cannot do this alone, that they need force multipliers, and they need the states to step up. The states themselves can't wait for direction on how to do that, and didn't wait for direction on how to do that under Governor DeSantis' leadership. We stepped up, and we went through the thought process of figuring out how that would actually be done. How would we help our federal partners? So we had vision, we had thought, and then there was the signature Governor DeSantis action and results and speed and a sense of urgency. And we did all of those things. And Alligator Alcatraz is just but one of many examples of that coming into reality, all generated and done under Governor DeSantis' leadership. Vision, thought, action, and results. But the last thing that I want to talk about that was a factor in the compliments from the President and Secretary Noem was resolve. There are always headwinds when you're doing new, novel, complex, difficult things. It's not off the shelf. It's not paint by the numbers. It's not easy. Is resolve. And that is a hallmark of Governor DeSantis and everyone who works for him, is that we are going to run into headwinds. The stuff that we do is national level, complex, complicated stuff. And so resolve is key. And one thing I know for certain about President Trump, he knows how to spot talent. He knows how to spot people that not only are smart and have great ideas, but work hard, execute, get results, and have resolve when they run into resistance or headwinds. So with all of that, Florida is and has become, and just as the governor said, is the best. They set the way, they set the standard. We even wrote kind of a manual on how to do it that is called the Florida Blueprint 1.0. And I can assure you that Florida Blueprint 2.0 is underway. But the other thing that the President and Secretary Noem said at that Alligator Alcatraz event a few weeks ago, in addition to praising Florida and complimenting Florida, they said, the President and Secretary said, they challenged the other states and they said, you need to adopt Florida's blueprint. You need to do what Florida does. And the expression that they kept using was, you need to step up and be like Florida. And we're hard at work at that. And that mission is ongoing. This is just another example of that, what is happening here today. But my real central message today is on this resolve piece. Because this process, even though it's only 6 or 7 months into it, is hitting the stage, hitting the part where the opposition, the obstructors, the people that don't want it to be successful, are going to their primary playbook, which is well-funded, well-organized lawyers who weaponize courts, who use lawfare and judicial weaponization to then attack and thwart and obstruct the will of the people, the mandate that the voters gave the president, the mandate from the entire state of Florida. On the special session, the governor had the vision to convene to give us the authorities and resources we need to fight this fight. That right now is under attack with this weaponized judiciary, with the leftist lawyers. And at the same time, there is the legacy media distorting the facts, telling lies, twisting and distorting information, working in what appears to be a very closely coordinated effort with the activist lawyers, the media, and then you have the riots like we saw in California that will not happen here because of him and the people behind me. The coordinated rent-a-riot. Suddenly people pop up and appear. They want to shut down the streets in your cities. The media is amplifying it right out of Hollywood. And then you got running to the courts, unelected courts, activist lawyers, and you see that. Then we saw even more acute things and more criminal things, the doxing and the harassment of the federal law enforcement officers and their families who live here in the state and in other states, just doing their job to enforce the law, and we're dealing with that. So this very well coordinated effort where they couldn't win at the ballot box, they couldn't win at the election, so they're using these unconventional means, unconventional methods, familiar terms, Lieutenant Governor, to basically fight this battle to thwart the will of Floridians and the American people. But you need to know that resolve piece applies here. We can, under Governor DeSantis' leadership, do our jobs, stay focused on the mission, mass deportation, be the best state, and then be able to come up with Blueprint 2.0, 3.0, help, assist, train, sound familiar, Lieutenant Governor, to go out in an expeditionary way, as the governor described, the lieutenant governor, and help these other states adopt and do what we do in Florida. It's that resolve. These people have that talent. And I can go through real quickly the people right here next to me. Governor DeSantis, if you want to look up the word resolve in the dictionary, you will see his picture. General Haas, a classically slain general officer soldier who has done it, been to war, strategic planning, all of those things. He knows how to fight a fight and deal with distractions, shiny objects, and things that are designed to distract him from the mission. Kevin Guthrie knows how to conduct the mission. He's been around a long time, not his first rodeo, can deal with distractions of these peripheral flank attacks. But the thing I'm most excited about today, with all due respect, Governor, is we've got a Green Beret on our team now. And if you know anything about Green Berets, this is their classic mission, dealing with this kind of guerrilla, asymmetrical side attack, flank attacks, staying focused on the mission, going and training and teaching the other states. Because in the end, history shows us that at the end of the day, if you have resolve, it is resolve that fundamentally always wins in the end if you keep your eye on the ball and if your cause is just. And we can never forget restoring our national sovereignty, securing our border, and enforcing the rule of law with illegal immigration is what it's all about. Thank you.
Florida Public Safety Czar Larry Keefe recently addressed the state's significant role in the federal government's mass deportation efforts. He highlighted the recognition from President Trump and Secretary Noem, who praised Florida for being the most effective partner in the mission. Governor DeSantis' leadership was central to Florida's success, with Keefe emphasizing that the state took initiative by formulating its own plans to assist the federal government. Rather than waiting for instructions, Florida acted quickly, implementing strategies with vision, speed, and urgency, setting a standard for other states to follow. A key component of Florida's success was the creation of the Florida Blueprint 1.0, a comprehensive guide that streamlined the deportation process. Keefe noted that this blueprint served as a model for other states, with a Florida Blueprint 2.0 already in development. This proactive approach was praised by both President Trump and Secretary Noem, who challenged other states to adopt Florida's methods and step up in the national mission. The state's leadership is committed to refining its approach and continuing to help other states replicate its success. Keefe also acknowledged the inevitable opposition that Florida faced in its mission, particularly from activist lawyers and the media. Despite legal challenges and coordinated efforts to obstruct Florida's plans, he emphasized that the state's resolve remained strong. The opposition, unable to win through elections, turned to legal tactics and media manipulation to disrupt Florida's progress. However, Keefe assured that Florida would continue to stay focused on its mission, despite these external pressures. In his closing remarks, Keefe reinforced the importance of resolve and leadership in achieving Florida's goals. He commended the leadership team, including military figures like General Hose and the addition of a Green Beret, who were instrumental in navigating the challenges posed by opposition tactics. Keefe made it clear that Florida's commitment to securing the border, restoring national sovereignty, and enforcing immigration laws would not be swayed by resistance. With continued determination, Florida is poised to remain a leader in mass deportation efforts and set the standard for other states to follow.